Hey, third graders, welcome back to our next writing lesson. We've been working so hard on drafting our personal narrative, and now we're at the point in our writing where we're going to revise and edit. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to review what revising and editing means in the writing process, and I'm going to show you a few tricks of what you could do when you go back and read over your writing and try to make it better. First, we're going to go through what revising and editing are, so let's get started. Okay, editing and revising are ways to improve our writing. Did you know that editing and revising are actually not the same? A lot of people make that mistake where they say editing and revising is just fixing your writing and that's it. Well, what's the difference? Well, revising makes your writing better. You go back and read through your narrative and you want to add certain details, change words, give more sentences to explain your thinking. Revising is improving your writing by adding more detail or taking away that detail. Editing is correcting your writing. So you're looking at punctuation, capitalization, seeing if maybe things are spelt correctly. So again, editing is fixing those mistakes. Revising is making your writing piece even better than it was. So let's look at some steps you can take when it comes to revising. When you're revising your writing piece, you're going to read it over, and then I want you to think about the letters in the word arms. Each letter represents a different step you're going to take in order to make your writing better. So let's take a look at that A. A, it's basic, means add. So you're going to add words or sentences, add descriptive words, and explain more in those sentences. So let's look at an example. This example here says the tree was tall. Now, yeah, okay, the tree was tall, but what type of tree was it? What was it taller than? Was it taller than me? Was it taller than a house? To explain more, your reader could really understand what you meant by the tree was tall. So we're going to try and make this a little bit better. I have this little text box here, and I want to really think about this. Well, yeah, the tree was tall, but what if I can add in what type of tree it was? All right, so instead of just the tree, I'm going to put the maple tree. Let's say it was a maple tree. Obviously, this is a made-up sentence. I'm just trying to put my own spin on it. So the maple tree was tall. Well, maybe if I add in some more descriptive words, was as tall as a house. Now I know that it was a maple tree and it was not only tall, but it was tall as a house. So that gives me a good understanding of how big this tree was, and it'll give the reader a better picture in their head about what that tree looked like. You could do that with your own sentences. Go back into your writing, read sentences over, and add more details to them. Remove. That's the next step in revising. You're going to remove unnecessary words. If there's words or phrases that are repeated over and over and over again, you may want to take those out. Or if there's sentences that are off topic and don't have anything to do with your small moment, they're just going to distract the reader and take away from your actual story. Then you have move. Remember last week how we talked about how narratives have to have a beginning, middle, and end, and they should go in sequencing order? And the way we do that is we use those transition words, right? Well, sometimes you'll throw events out of order by accident, and this is where you start moving things around to make sure it makes sense. So you read it over again, make sure all the events are in order, and then would it make sense if it was in a different order? So if you move something around, does the story still make sense, or does it need to be put in a different spot? So it's really just arranging sentences that may not be in the right spot. The last part about revising is that substitute, that S, substitute words. So you want to replace boring words with descriptive words. Replace overused words or phrases with synonyms. Remember, synonyms are those words that mean the same thing. You can use a thesaurus to do this. So I pulled up this resource here. It's called thesaurus.com. On thesaurus.com, you can use some of the words in your personal narrative to type into the box here to kind of see if you could find a better synonym. For example, if I wanted to put the word sad, I would just type in sad at the top. And all of these different words that are similar are a synonym for the word sad will pop up. Now, some of them may not fit into certain sentences perfectly, but you have a lot of different words that you can use to replace and make your writing better with some descriptive words. So now that we've talked about what revising is and how you can revise your personal narrative, we're going to quickly go through what editing is. Now, this week, I really don't want you to focus on editing. I want you to focus on revising. But if you work really hard and feel that you're ready to edit, then you have the steps here to do that. So like revising, how we thought of arms, for editing, you're going to think of cups. So think of those letters in the word cups, and each of them stands for something you're going to look for. First, the C stands for capitalization. You're going to check for capital letters at the beginning of sentences and for proper nouns, such as Montclair Elementary would be capital because it is a proper noun. Usage. Read your sentences. Do they make sense? Correct meaning of words, example, the there, and there, which you'll be able to review on Study Island and Nearpod this week. And then noun and verb agreements. They should be in the present tense, past tense, future tense. If the noun is, then the verb is. If the noun is, then the verb is. They should agree with each other. Punctuation. Check your punctuation, that you have appropriate marks, exclamation points, question marks, periods, the commas, quotation marks for dialogue, and there's so much more that you could add in there. And lastly, spelling. Check for spelling and use your resources. You know how to use a dictionary. I showed you thesaurus.com. You can also go to dictionary.com. Ask a friend too if they know how to spell, or ask an adult. Think of it this way. Editing is looking for mistakes, and revising is all about your ideas and giving it more detail. Now we're going to take a look at my draft, and we're going to do a little revising with it. So now that we have gone over what revising and editing are, we're going to really focus on revising. We're going to take a look at my personal narrative that I've been working on and read through my draft and see if we can make any revisions using the acronym ARMS that we talked about earlier. But first, I'm going to read you my draft. I hope you like it. Sadie meets Jackie. That summer afternoon on August 22nd was one of the best days of my life. I was at the hospital and just had given birth to my daughter, Jackie Lynn. My husband, my mom, and I were so excited to meet her. However, the best part about this day is the moment Sadie met Jackie for the first time. It started when Sadie arrived at the hospital with my dad. They walked up to the elevator and pressed the button for the floor that I was on. Soon, the doors of the elevator opened and Sadie was moments away from meeting her little sister. I was laying in my hospital bed holding little baby Jackie. I remember how little she felt in my arms. I remember hearing Sadie's voice coming from down the hallway. First, my dad walked in to see the baby. Next, I heard and saw Sadie enter the room. My husband had his phone ready to record her reaction. As Sadie entered my room, her eyes grew big and her smile grew as wide as her face. The first thing she said was, "Aw, my baby Jackie." Then she walked over to me, holding her, and gave her a kiss on her forehead. After that, it was Sadie's turn to hold Jackie. We propped Sadie up in a comfy chair with a pillow under her arm to support Jackie's head. I carefully placed Jackie in Sadie's arms. It was a moment in my life I will never forget. Sadie kissed her little sister and sang her a song. She kept saying how much she loved little Jackie Lynn and would always be there for her. At this point, I'm snapping away, taking pictures on my phone. It was a moment I would cherish forever. It was beautiful to see my two girls together for the first time. They continue to make me happy on a daily basis. I am very lucky to have my sweet daughters of mine. The end. So that was my quick draft. I quickly typed it down when I'm trying to think of the memory and didn't really add any really descriptive details or went to fix any of my spelling or anything. I just typed. So now we're just going to look at this top portion here and we're going to go through the acronym ARMS. Now remember, A stands for add, adding any details or words. So there was one part that I was reading over in the beginning of my story that I thought needed a little bit more explanation. So it says here, they walked up to the elevator and pressed the button for the floor I was on. Soon the doors of the elevator opened and Sadie was moments away from meeting her little sister. But I didn't say what floor I was on. I didn't say anything about the elevator opening. Did they hit the button on the outside of the elevator? So I have to make sure that I paint that picture. It started when Sadie arrived at the hospital with my dad. They walked up to the elevator and pressed the button on the outside. The doors opened because you press it to get in the elevator and then you press the button to what floor you're on. So they walked up to the elevator and pressed the button on the outside. Then inside the elevator, Sadie pushed the button for the floor I was on. So now I added a little bit more detail to make it make a little bit more sense because you hit a button twice when you're in the elevator. So that was my A. Now R is for remove. So let's see now. I did see something. I remember hearing Sadie's voice. First, my dad walked in to see the baby. Next, I heard and saw. Right here, it says, next I heard and saw Sadie enter the room. I don't really know if that sounds okay or if it sounds right. Next, I heard and saw Sadie enter the room. Maybe I'll just change it up, take out heard, because if I saw her, yeah, I'm going to take heard and I saw Sadie enter the room. Yeah, I like how that sounds. So I removed part of that sentence just so that it sounded a little bit better. Now, so I did add, remove, move. So now you won't always have to move things if you know that yours is in sequential order, meaning beginning, middle, and end. Looking at mine, everything seems to be in the right order. So I don't really see anything that I need to move. The last one is substitute. I did see a lot of words that I could substitute here. So I'm looking at a lot of saw. I feel like I said a lot. And it was beautiful. It was this. It was a moment. A lot of it. It was a moment I would never get. It was a moment I would cherish forever. So maybe I'm just going to substitute it with a couple of different things. So it was a moment in my life I would never forget. I actually think I'm going to remove this sentence completely. And I'm actually going to combine it with this one over here. It was a moment in my life I would cherish forever. In my life I would cherish forever. So now I actually ended up moving a sentence and substituting at the same time. So there you saw, I didn't go through my entire writing. I didn't go in detail, but I did read it over. And then I tried using the ARMS and ARMS to add, remove, move, and substitute different writing. Now it's your turn. So now that we've gone through what editing and revising are, and I kind of showed you how to revise using your draft from your personal narrative, I'm going to explain to you what you're going to do this week. One, you're going to look at your draft and you're going to go through using ARMS to revise. Remember, A is to add, R is to remove, M is to move, and S is to substitute. You can use a thesaurus on thesaurus.com to make your writing better and when you substitute for some synonyms. Okay, so that's the first step, working on some revising. Your next thing that you're going to do on Seesaw, I just want you to take a picture of your draft. Read it over, explain to me some changes you made and what you're really proud of that you did when you revised your writing. And that's it. There's a couple of options on your choice board to go over there, and there. And there's also some Study Island revising that you can do. I can't wait to see your drafts and the revisions that you made to make it better. Keep working hard. I miss you guys. See you soon. Bye.